Hello everyone, this is Callie Person for Simon Says Stamp. In today's quick tip video, I'm going to share all about the features and benefits of these sponge applicators that are a part of our exclusive to Simon Says Stamp Rainbow Splash collection. They are the perfect companion for your inking needs and are a great tool for direct ink application. The sponge applicators come in two sizes from the Rainbow Splash collection. The small sponge is approximately 3/4 inches by 1/2 inch tall, and the handle is 4 inches long. These small sponge applicators are quite delicate at the top, but are super buoyant for applying ink. The sponge on the large sponge applicators are about 1 3/8 inch wide and 3/4 inches tall with a 3-inch handle. This sponge is a little bit sturdier at the top, but is also buoyant and can hold lots of ink for direct application. I've been saying from the start of this video that this tool is great for direct ink application. That's because they're not necessarily made for ink blending. These tools are made for more of the pouncing direct application technique. Don't worry, I'll be demonstrating that here in a little bit. Now for storage, the Simon Says Stamp multi-purpose tool and brush storage system is great for storing these sponge applicators. You can store a multitude of sponge applicators in as many colors as you desire. Now to demonstrate how to use these sponge applicators, I'm going to first place down my craft tacky mat. I have an A2 sized card panel here, and I've chosen a very detailed stencil to demonstrate direct ink application with the pouncing technique. After getting some ink onto my sponge, I am just working it into the sponge by pressing down onto my ink pad lid or onto my glass mat to get that ink to work its way into the sponge. Because these sponges don't have bristles, they're not going to work their way into intricate stencils like this. As you can see, I've applied it using circular motions like I would with a brush, and it did not apply the ink very well. So you're going to need to pounce and just pressing down until you get the saturation that you'd like. Now, if you don't get enough ink on your sponge, you can always get more. And if you find that you have too much ink on your sponge, you can always tap off on an extra piece of paper or cloth. And this is what you'll want to do too when you clean your sponge. Because it's a sponge, you don't want to get it wet because that sponge is going to expand. So applying too much ink will cause it to expand, but it will go back to its original size once that ink dries. For this reason, it's advisable to have a sponge for each color family, and you can have multiple sponges per color family depending on if you want a sponge for a dark and a light color. And as you've noticed, I've switched from the large sponge applicators to the small. The small ones are great for applying to very specific areas. As you can see, I'm concentrating the blue and the purple on the outer rings of this stencil. And you can overlap the colors to get a natural gradient, as I did here, going from pink to yellow and then to blue. We have a natural bloom of orange and green between all of those colors. Stenciling with a more open stencil is going to be the same. You're not going to be able to do a lot of blending in circular motions, though that's going to be easier to achieve with the larger sponge applicator. So I'm just demonstrating the pouncing of these colors to get a nice and even blend using a rainbow of colors to demonstrate that you can achieve an even blend with sponge applicators as you would with blending brushes. This is a great alternative to the blending brushes if you have wrist issues and find that the circular motions of using a blender brush is difficult for you. Okay, so we've gone over examples of how sponge applicators can be used for stenciling. Now I want to show you how great they are at applying ink for die cuts. Like stenciling, you're just going to grab that ink and pounce that ink onto your die cuts. Creating a gradient of color is just as simple with a sponge applicator as it is with another blending tool. These high quality sponge heads are going to absorb that ink and transfer evenly onto your cardstock for great results for paper piece products. Now let's talk about stamping with these sponge applicators. Sponge applicators are great for transferring ink to silhouette stamps, and it gives you the ability to add more colors to make your silhouette stamping a bit more interesting and helps it stand out from the typical silhouette stamping with just one color. After stamping the green for all of the foliage, I'm going to go in with a darker color using the smaller sponge applicator so I can add areas of darker color to indicate shadow and shading for selective stems and foliage. This also gives it the look of layered stamping. Once I've stamped my foliage and I'm happy with the different colors of green, I can go in and add different colors for the flowers at the top of this wildflower silhouette. Using my small sponge applicator, I can isolate the flowers that I want in certain colors and just apply color to those stamped images, and then stamp them and repeat the process with other colors. The ability to add colors with these sponge applicators stretches your design possibilities with one single stamp. With an image like this, you can change the colors up for spring, summer, or fall cards. In addition to silhouette stamps, this technique will work great with any solid image where you want to change the color. On this particular flower, I'd like to isolate the center to make it yellow and then color the petals so that they are a gradient between pink and purple. This is so easy to do with two sizes of sponge applicators. I used a small sponge applicator to isolate the center of the flower, then filled the entire area of the petals using pink, and then went in with a small applicator to apply some purple for a nice gradient going from purple to pink from the center of the flower. This direct ink application can be used for all sorts of foliage, flowers, and any other solid images that you might want to stamp. So there we have some uses for how these sponge applicators can add color to your projects, whether it be stamps, stencils, or adding ink to die cuts. These sponge applicators are a useful tool for all your inking needs in your craft space. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the features and benefits of the Simon Says Stamp exclusive small and large sponge applicators. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye everyone!
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.